Welcome tonight to the Tea Time Talks on data. What does data mean? How can we collect it? And is it of any use to us as farmers? This evening, I'm joined by Campbell from Agriwebb. He's going to introduce himself shortly. We're also joined by Multipliers, stabilizer breeders and Agriwebb users, Sian and Llion Jones. And also we've got Ursula. Ursula's going to be monitoring questions and answers this evening. So if anybody's got any questions for us as we go along, stick them into the Q&A box, either down the bottom or they're at the side. And when they're relevant, Ursula will pop back up and she will ask those questions for us. Right, let's kick things off. So my name's Seth Wareing. I'm the business manager of Stabilizer Cattle Company. You've all heard enough from me. Let me get everybody else to introduce themselves. So the Joneses, if you'd like to introduce yourself, and once you have introduced yourself, I've got a question for you. What does data mean to progress in your business? Over to you.
I'll do the easy part and introduce me and Llion. I'll over to Llion.
I'm Llion Jones.
Yeah, and Sian Jones, and then yeah. So, what does data mean for us?
It's just a way of improving things, cattle, land, everything really, and finding the faults as quick as we can and addressing them as soon as we can really, and having data and something, if some things go wrong, we've got something to look back on to see what has gone wrong or to try and find out.
Perfect. And do you want to just give us a quick overview of where you are and the business?
Yeah, sure. So Llion and Sian, we're in Multipliers, Llanws, as you said, just in North Wales. So both of us started farming together in 2013. Llion previously worked on a dairy farm. I was brought up here in Mauchan. So we started on a national trust farm, just a small holding. 2018, we moved here to Mauchan. It's quite an exposed farm. We're quite high up. It ranges from about 1,000 feet to about 1,500 at the top. So it's quite heavy, kind of soil, quite peaty, quite wet, yeah, and especially in winter, obviously. It suits the stabilizers really well because they're quite hardy, aren't they? Dad started with a breed in 2001, we think, isn't it, Ursula? And he sold, unfortunately, most of them in 2010. He kept 10. Me and Llion inherited then when he started farming. And we just built it from there, really. We're retaining all the heifers. Llion tells me every year we'll be selling some heifers next year, so when I see it, I'll believe it. Yes. So what else is there? Yeah. So we kept all the heifers. We AI everything. We just think it's the best way to try and take advantage of the genetic gains, really, and the EBVs, and the quickest way of doing it as well. Health is quite a high kind of priority of ours. We're working towards the health status, high health status. Calvings at spring, and AI heifers in June, cows in July. We try and keep the calving pattern as tight as possible, 10 weeks if possible. Breeding bulls are sold. The best breeding bulls, obviously, are from farm or from the NFE unit. The rest are reared from home just as bull beef and go straight to slaughter. We try and keep the cows out for as long as possible. It's just it depends what the weather, if weather permitted, or to come in. And some are up in the mountain in Capel Cerrig at the minute, which is ideal to save some costs and save some work for us. With the housing, some are on deferred grazing, and the ones which the first calvers or low body conditions need to come in, and we'll just keep an eye on them. So we try and calve everything outside again if weather permits. Or once the kind of the calves are strong enough, they go into rotation because we've got paddock set up, and we try and measure every week. We're part of the gas check project, so it's been quite beneficial, really, seeing just kind of monitoring the fields and paddock, just monitoring how they're doing and how well they're growing every year. We've got some sheep, just a mix of Welsh and improved Welsh and Applefield. yeah, we've seen the benefits of kind of keep data monitoring and performance recording with the cattle. So we're trying to do the same thing with the sheep going forward.
Fantastic. And look, as we go through this evening, don't worry, we'll be talking to you a lot about what sort of data you're capturing, how you're capturing it, and what decisions you're then making off the back of it. Now, let me introduce my next guest this evening, Campbell. Do you want to just give us a brief overview about yourself, the business? And I'm going to ask you exactly the same question, Campbell. What does data mean to progress in your business?
Yeah, it's a great question. So thanks for having me. First and foremost, name's Campbell Mauchan. I'm the country manager here for Agriwebbs in the UK. So I'm Canadian, born and raised, but spent 3.5 years down in Australia with the Agriwebbs team, really just helping provide a simple and easy to use farm management tool to beef and sheep and mostly mixed producers. Was lucky enough, I guess about 18 months ago, to head back to the northern hemisphere to hopefully start to introduce Agriwebbs to British and UK farmers. And again, we've just been on a pretty cool journey working with amazing producers like Sian and Llion. I'm sure they could tell some stories when they jumped on as some of our first users and how we've tried to work with them to progress the software from there. So my journey's been about 5 years working with, again, beef and sheep producers, really just providing hopefully a simple to use app that allows you to record those things that you want to record and doesn't force you to record those things that maybe aren't as valuable for your business. So I think when I think about our business from a data perspective, it's a great question. Obviously, our business revolves around providing others with data to hopefully improve their business. But looking at inward, I guess we do like to draw those comparisons because when you look at everything that we have as a team, everything's cloud-based. So we can work from home. I'm sitting in my flat here, as you said, in London, but can collaborate with we've got a member of the team in Wales, and really just using not only cloud-based technology, but data to look and say, well, what are our users benefiting from Agriwebbs? How can we help get them to this point in the product that we know is going to make a difference to them? So really trying to collect as much as we can and then use it to benefit our customers, if that makes sense. So effectively runs not only our business, but hopefully our business is providing that data to farmers like Sian and Llion.
Fantastic, thank you, Campbell. And there's a couple of things that you've touched on there, and we'll tease them out as we go through this evening. But really, let's kick things off with data. Obviously, we're all told that we've got to keep more data, we've got to collect more data. But what are the important things that we should be looking at as beef producers? And we'll focus mostly on the beef tonight. But if it folds into some of the other farm ones, then that's great. But what is important data, and how can we react to those? To that information that's coming back to us. So Sian and Llion, firstly, what sort of things do you capture on your farm?
Well, I'll start off with the calving. Pick up the birth weights of all the calves and calving years, and then we note down temperament as well. Really, anything that's sort of flighty or something it seems to follow through the birth line, so we try and get rid of them straight away, really. So then from there on, we weigh them about once in the summertime, halfway through the summer, and then weaning weights. And when we're weaning weights of the cows, body condition score, and the weights as well of the cows, and then the same with the calves. And then the calves after they wean, we weigh them monthly after, really, just we put like a weight goal in Agriwebbs and then make sure they're on track, that nothing's lagging behind or needs extra help, or there's nothing wrong with them, really. So
yeah, and so how do you physically weigh those cattle? Have you got an electronic crush, or what are you doing?
Yeah, we've got electronic weigh bars, and then we scan them with a wand, and then that's linked to Agriwebbs, so the data goes straight in. Then as they go through the crush, you get daily live weight gain, flash up straight away, between the from the last weight. So if there's anything lagging behind or hasn't put weight on, you can see it straight away, and you can filter them out straight away and see if there's anything wrong. Or
And so how long have you had that sort of system in place?
It's only now really starting to work as well as it does, isn't it? It's been a lot of perseverance and practice, and us getting used to the technology and getting the technology to work together. Our original stick reader wasn't compatible with the iPhone, so we had to upgrade. But it's been worth it because we weighed the heifers yesterday when they were coming into the sheds, and all I had to do was press the stick reader to pick the tags up. It went straight, it picked the weight up straight away, picked the heifer, and it was just so easy. We just ran the through, didn't we? It was so much less stress on the heifers and cows and everything really, and us. But yeah, it does take perseverance. You need to kind of just get used to it. It kind of, when we started, I remember doing the bowls once, and it took a while to get used to it, didn't it?
It's just getting used to it.
Yeah, we nearly kind of just quit, but no, perseverance, and then it is worth it.
Yeah, so I mean, you touched on quite a few different things there, but I think one of the things that you did touch on is now how easy it is to collect the data. And because is it so easy, is that wanting you to collect the data more often or more data, or?
Yeah, I think we do it more often, because if it's a big job, you seem to we'll leave it for this month. But if it's only running through, and it's only, it took about 20 minutes to weigh about 40, they just run through. There was no work. So if it's no work and it's easy, you don't put it off anyway, so you run it through. So.
Usually we're just writing the weights down, and it's then having to take them back to the office, putting them in, and you never do it straight away. It's always kind of a few days later, and it just goes out of your mind then, doesn't it? You don't really analyse that data. If you're doing it there and then, it's kind of, and whilst you're looking at the heifers, it's kind of, it just feels like a bit more, the data is more useful.
Absolutely.
As you do it.
Yeah, and I'm assuming, Campbell, that you've heard that from farmers world over, saying that if it's easy, we're going to do it, and we want this data, but what we don't want to do is spend hours inputting that data.
100%. I mean, I think we usually hear it in the opposite way, is like, if this isn't easy, I'm not doing it. And you're like, okay, well, that's good. Let's start there. And I'd kind of come back to that and look at, Sian and Llion just talked about a number of things that they record. And, when we start to get either, whether it's new users or just talking with people in an open forum like this, we usually go, well, find those one or two records or pieces of information that you really want, because you're going to make a better decision if you have them, and start there. I love what Llion said of, like, it's now just part of our routine, right? Because if start simple, find those things that you're going to want to record, and find something that's going to make that easy, it just starts to become part of your routine. And I'd venture to guess that, the amount of information that people like Sian and Llion have built up, the decision making, would be incredible. You'd be able to make some unbelievable insights.
Good. Now Ursula's popped up. It means that there's going to be questions. So Ursula, do you want to unmute yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Ursula. I help look after sales and marketing, and I'm the question pastor tonight. Right, I've got a couple of questions, and the only questions that will be going on the system here tonight are questions that are actually relevant to either Sian and Lloyd, or Sian and Llion, or data. We've got a question asking, at what point in your annual cycle will you body condition and score the cows, and what are your targets at each stage you said about doing this?
For the body condition score the cows, we do that at weaning, and then we'll do them again before calving. Well, yeah, quite a bit before calving, about after Christmas, really, January time, just to make sure everything's in fit condition, really, to calve. They don't want extra feed or something like that.
Yeah. So what would your targets be at those times of year then, Llion?
The targets for the cows, about four condition score at weaning. We're not really bothered if they're 5, to be honest with you, because we put them up the mountain and they can stay there longer then, until they come down to condition score 3, really, 2.5, 3, so that we don't have any trouble calving.
Absolutely. And so, you know, that's something that we talk about a lot is managing that body condition, get the cows as fat as possible during the summer, make sure they're cycling, they get in calf, they get as big as possible. So then by the time they come in, you can gradually take it off, have a nice cheap winter. But obviously with the data capture of combining your cow weight and your body condition score, you know exactly how much grub you're going to need to feed them during the winter.
Yeah.
Just another quick one. The investment of electronic weigher, and were you able to get some grant funding for it? Because these scales aren't these if you buy one of these new weighers and what have you, they're not cheap, are they?
No. Yeah, we had the grant with the farm business grant with Welsh Government for buying a mobile race, and then there was a weight rate within that race. So, and it's actually one of the best things we've ever bought because it just makes the job so bloody easy.
Big investment, but yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And big TB testing days and stuff like that. It is definitely worth it. The stick reader, we had a grant from Family Connect through the demonstration farms, through one of the demonstration farms for them. And yeah, one of the projects, the next project will be monitoring data for the sheep. So we were able to get a discount on one of the stick readers. Yeah.
I have another quick one as well about weighing. How easy to refer, obviously, to the system you're using, Agriwebb, how easy is it to refer back to a group weigh and check progress of different groups of animals?
Yeah, it's quite easy. It's there's like insights, so you can go on the insights, and then there's four graphs, and then it shows the ones that are lagging behind, and then you can highlight them and see who they are.
Yeah, the insights tool has been really beneficial. You can filter by sires as well, so you can kind of keep track on which it's quite interesting to look at. It highlights the sires up in different colours. You can only do it from the desktop. You can't do it from your phone. But it's one of those things you want to kind of have time to think over anyway. So it's yeah, it works really well.
Yeah.
Just to quickly add on that, Seth, I mean, I think Sian and Llion just touched on something really quick in terms of, you know, the overarching conversation of data is probably these days, data should go hand in hand with cloud-based technology, if that makes sense. So, you know, we've just kind of touched on it, but, you know, their ability to pull that information into a mobile application and then not have to sit at the computer to type it in. If people are looking at tools, whether that's Agriwebb or any cloud-based tool, accounting, anything, I would highly recommend that first thing on the checklist is cloud-based, kind of simplify that capture and then improve that analysis.
So can you just cover what cloud-based is, Campbell, please?
Yeah, definitely. So the cloud sounds nice and scary. All it means is that it's stored on computers that are not your own. So effectively, it can be accessed from anywhere that's connected to the internet. So, you know, in Sian and Llion's case, they can access their Agriwebb account, which is their cloud account, which just means it's stored on a cloud computer from anywhere in the world. So if they go on hopefully sooner rather than later on a nice vacation, they could pull up their mobile app, they could pull up their laptop on the hotel computer and check in to see where everything is. Ultimately, the real benefit is, you know, as Sian touched on, is you're not having to enter it into one central spot. Right? You're not having to come back to the home computer that's got, you know, our software downloaded on it. It can be entered or pulled down from anywhere, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if you run over your laptop or your phone with the tractor or you drop it, you can just, all the data is backed up. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I suppose then it also means that you can have different users using the software. So, you know, it's not, if Sian wants to go and do some scanning or weighing or whatever it is, Llion doesn't have to give her the phone.
No. Yeah. Multiple users, as you say. It's probably one of the bigger reasons, especially in the early days of Agriwebb, where people went, I leaned over a trough or, you know, whatever, was walking in the winter, top pocket notebook fell out of the pocket, and there goes a year and a half's worth of data. You could pitch the iPhone in the lake and we'll just re-download it onto the next device you got.
Perfect. Now look, I'm just conscious that we've got 10 minutes left, so let's keep this pushing forward. So we've touched on weights, and weights are a big important thing, and you know we've highlighted quite quickly what you can do when you look at the weight. So if the animals aren't performing well, you can adjust the diet, or you can make changes to other management practices. What other sorts of data are you guys capturing on the farm that then you're making decisions on?
The grass growth, we measure part of the grass check project. Well, Sian does measure weekly, and then she puts that all into Agriwebb, and that's handy really because it goes into Agriwebb. Then if I'm moving the cattle in the week, I can just have a look at the map and see where they're going to next, where the biggest cover is, and
yeah, and I think that's a real big important factor. Is actually, you know, you're capturing data one day, but then you're using that data as you go through. Not obviously that week as you're looking at grass growth, but you refer back to that data to make decisions. Obviously, big management decisions of which animals to keep and which animals to sell, but also which paddocks do we put animals in? You know, which group of animals do we go where? And I think. Does that play a big factor in, you know, in your decision making now? A lot more of it is done on data, or are you still going on gut reaction?
No, a lot more on data, especially like this time of year. We'll look at the growth rates of the paddocks to see what's lagging behind, and then we'll sample them fields to see what the pH was. Do they need P&K, or what's wrong with them really? Why, or do they need reseeding?
Yeah, it's often you don't see it as you go. It's just when you look back at it, because we were just looking at Agriwebbs yesterday and looking at which field performed best, and the ones you thought that were performing okay weren't, and were kind of way below the average. So you know then, you can make those decisions then of like soil sampling and see what's going on, and then you can kind of improve it to then, hopefully grow more grass next year.
So just on that one, we just had a question come in about grass. How do you physically measure the grass?
Plate meter.
Plate meter, and you walk the farm every week?
Not the whole farm. We just do. There's about 100 and something acres.
Yeah, about 150, 160 we're doing now. We're still in the process really of adding paddocks and dividing the fields really. So we do try and do some of the farms, well, most of the farm, as often as we can, well, monthly really, but it's only about 150, 160 acres that are done every week. So.
But yeah, next year I think I'll have a longer walk around.
Yeah. And which out of interest, just which plate meter is that? No idea.
Sorry, we don't know. Sorry.
Don't worry. So I mean, Campbell, you know, there's a couple of things there. Is firstly that actually we've got two different sources of data now coming in. We got weights and we got grass measurements. How can you start to combine these measurements to deliver insight to farmers?
Yeah, I think just quickly to touch on it's exciting for us to hear that, you know, people are, someone like, you know, Sian is making that, again, I'll just touch on making that part of the routine so that, well, yeah, we put the feed on offer in there, and then, oh, well, it happens to be there next time I open it, and I can make a better decision. And so, you know, when we looked at the options out there in terms of software for, you know, a reasonably, obviously a well-run operation, but a reasonably typical operation in Sian and Llion's, and, you know, sheep, cattle, mixed grazing, what we found was, and the complaint usually is, I want it all in one spot, right? I don't want to run this software and this software and this spreadsheet. Oh, and, you know, dad's still got his book, and, you know, how do you collate that together? So it was really important for us, probably secondly to the ease of capture, was as much as we can get in there without complicating it. Because as you say, once you can get that grass information in there, you start to, you know, realize where if you're overgrazing, undergrazing. You know, we've had users that say things like, you know, Sian and Llion just touched on it, but do I need to fertilize that field this year? It turns out that it's our second best performing field based on where I've grazed those cattle and how are those cattle performing. We've got other users that said, well, I actually figured out that we had a bigger worm burn in paddock 1 because the weights of that group of cattle were all down, and you can trace that back to where they were grazing. So being able to pull that all in together, you know, again, it takes some commitment, and if you make it part of that kind of daily routine, but I think from what we've seen, the results can be achieved.
Great. Now, Ursula, we've got a whole heap of questions coming in. Are you on? You're still
No,
on.
I'm not sorry, I'm muting myself. Yeah, there's a couple direct me straight to you, Campbell. Then I'll put them together. One is basically, so obviously someone's looking at a different system. Can they transfer their livestock data and everything from another system to yours? And also another quick one was, have Agriwebbs got the ability to link the plate meter directly to your system?
Yeah, so quickly on those, we definitely can import a vast majority of data. I think anybody that tells you they can get every shred in is probably trying to get you to buy their software. I wouldn't sit here and tell you that, but you know, as much as we can get in, we would try to do that. Animals, weights, you know, past records, we try and pull a lot of that in. If it comes in a CSV, it's a lot easier. In terms of linking directly to the plate meter, not just yet, but I think, you know, when we look at how else we want to share that information, share that data, it would be, linking to plate meters is a big one, but taking it a step further and working with companies that are using satellite technology to project that feed on offer. So big things coming in 2021.
Perfect. Now look, we're conscious. We've got 4 minutes left. So let's just get into, we've talked a lot about different types of data. We've talked about the benefits of capturing it nice and easy. We've talked about the joining together. What difference has it made to your business to be able to make those decisions quickly and easily?
It's finding the weak ones out sooner, like with the bull beef. The ones that cost the most are the stragglers in the end, really, so we weigh them, and anything that's lagging behind, we just get off and put them into steers or sell them in stores or whatever. Just to, yeah, and the same with the paddocks, really. Anything that's not performing, or you can address it really straight away.
So it'd be fair to say that by using data and making decisions early, it's had a financial benefit on your business, and it's allowed you to do things that you perhaps wouldn't have normally done otherwise.
Yeah, and with the bulls as well, really, with selecting the bulls of the AI, it's with Agri, like we spend a lot of time really before we start serving, just matching them up, improving traits, and just to try and get improve the cows as much as we can, really, and get better cattle to sell.
Perfect. And so then, Campbell, just lastly for you is what are the other common questions that you get asked when talking about how do we even start collecting data on a farm when we've not been doing a lot of it before?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is kind of that common question of where do we start? I think, when we first started at Agriwebbs, it was very difficult. There was maybe only a couple things on the market, but now, one, I'd always say start with the problem that you're trying to solve, or start with that question that you want to answer. When Llion's talking about the bull beef there, right? It's daily lab weight gain, it's where we purchase them, et cetera, et cetera. So start with that, and then look at how am I collecting the data now? And then last and finally, look at the tools you're using, right? Just because you're doing it now doesn't necessarily mean it's the best way. We had one user, it just starts to be able to really look at what am I doing on a day-to-day basis? Is this the best way for me to do it? And I'd say the best part about right now and technology on farm is that you're not alone anymore. 5 years ago, you might have been the first early adopter. Ask your neighbors, right? They're probably using something, and you're probably not going to be the first one that has to work out any kinks, right? It's plenty of people like myself kind of wake up every day and try and build something that can help you. So yeah, start with that problem, look at what you're using right now, and ask those neighbors. They're probably using
Perfect. Thank you very much. Now, look, I'm just going to come to you very quickly for your top tips. But before we do, we've had a whole heap of questions in this evening. It's been great to go through some of these. Now, we're a business that uses data to make breeding decisions for the whole breed going forward. And data is a key part of what has allowed the stabilizer to grow at the rate, and the performance improvements that we've seen have been thanks to multipliers like Sian and Llion. But across the UK, collecting data, inputting that data. Now, we use those data to create EBVs, and I know that all of the breeders are using those EBVs to make breeding decisions. But data goes a lot more than that. So data can allow you to make decisions on the farm very quickly and very easily, and EBVs are one half of that tool. We are got another talk on EBVs on the 15th of December. And so if anybody wants to discuss in more detail what the role of EBVs are, then please join us on the 15th of December. But with that said, I'd like to thank you all for joining in this evening. I'm just going to go quickly to Sian and Llion. One top tip.
Make it part of your routine, really, and don't give up.
Yeah,
Just stick at it. Yeah.
Can I just say, Agriwebb's been fantastic with customer support. It sounds like I'm trying to sell the product, but don't, if anyone's worried that they're alone kind of trying to figure this software out, then they're not. There's always someone at the end of an email or the chat facility to kind of help you out. So yeah, that's helped a lot for us anyway.
Thank you very much. And Campbell, quick top tip.
Yeah, Sean stole my thunder. I was going to say, we're going to, no, not at all. It's better coming from you than it is me. If you are going to look at a new tool to capture better data, you know, whether that's Agriwebb or whether that's a new plate meter, make sure there's support behind it, right? It is going to be something that's a learning curve. Make sure there's people there, and make sure you know where your data is going, right? It's yours. It's yours to make use of. I'd always just ask that question. Those would be the two questions I'd ask anyone. If you're downloading a new app, I'd read the fine print. That would just be my question.
Perfect. So look, thank you very much. Thank you everybody that's joined us this evening. We've had a fantastic number of people join us this evening. Thank you to Llion and Sian, and thank you to Campbell for joining us. Look, if anybody wants to get in touch with any of us, you can find the Stabilizer Cattle Company online, stabilizer.co.uk, agriwebb.co.uk.
Yep, that'll work.
If you want any more detail on those. Anybody's got any questions for Sian and Llion, or if anybody wants to visit the farm, because they will have stock for sale this spring, get in touch with us and we can put you in touch with them. So thank you all for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you next week for Genomics.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you.
Guys, chat soon.